It's Late Night Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting. I am coming to you at 11:58 p.m. How is it almost midnight? But it's Friday, October 10th. It's still Friday for me here in Wisconsin. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, and it is time for some late night crafting. Let me get my other devices set up quick. I always have to wait for it to open up on my page. All right, so there's one device ready to go. Let's see if we can get my iPad up here going. There it goes. That way I can see better if anybody joins me live, and I can try to keep up with any of the comments coming in. So, welcome. Every night I kind of start out with my 30-second commercial that always goes longer than 30 seconds, and I apologize for that, but Stampin' Up! Has so much stuff going on. So the first thing is this best ever starter kit offer. If you are not a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, whether you're a kitnapper or a discount diva or a community coach or a business builder, it doesn't matter. You can run your stuff however you want, but this is an awesome deal. So if you are not already part of our Stampin' Up! Community, you should really think about joining. You can get, there's two options, $125 worth of product that you pick out. Nobody picks it out for you. You pick it out. You only have to pay $35. There's no shipping. You get a free surprise paper pumpkin kit, and they'll send you, Stampin' Up! Will send you some catalogs and some business supplies in case you want to run it as a business, but don't feel like you have to. I started as a kitnapper. I wanted the deal. I wanted the discount. There are so many perks. That was back in 2017. So I'm still here, and I'm having a great time making friends pretty much every day. The other option is $189 worth of products for only $99. So either way, you get $90 worth of free product. All right, so that's a pretty big deal. And let me just look something up here. I am going to sort my products. So this deal is basically better for anybody if you're looking for a large ticket item. So let's say you want a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, the big one, the one that I call Big Bessie. You would want to do this kit because it costs more than $125. All right. With this $125 for $35 option, you can't go over the 125. You can't go over the 189. So you would be able to look at several suites. The Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. There's a bundle of dies. There's quite a few things that are more than the $125. But if you're just getting started, if you're just supplementing some supplies you have, this is an awesome deal. I don't know how anybody would want to pass up a $35 deal. So anyway, if you are interested in joining my team, I would love to have you. I have already added several people this month during this promotion. This is only going to last through the end of October. So if you have questions, shout out to me. All right. Next announcement, Stampin' Up! Is doing a virtual craft class. The first one is going to be October 23rd. I do not know how often they're going to run these. They might have announced it and I probably missed it. But we're going to do 4 projects. There's going to be 3 cards, 1 home decor item. We'll get a PDF. We'll get the instruction by at least 2 of Stampin' Up's creative people, a concept artist, and I don't remember who else, but they're the creative people behind all of the products. They'll be leading the class. We'll have a PDF tutorial. It's going to be on a private Facebook page. And this class is $30. So all of those things. If you want the class, the item number is 170073. This Traditions of Christmas Suite collection, unfortunately, there are components of this that are still unavailable. It has been so popular. The class will run regardless because we can always supplement what we have in our stash for the products that they're using. And I have to admit, I do not have this suite collection. I think I bought the paper and I didn't buy the other things. And by the time I decided, oh, I think I want all the other things, they were already not available because people had snatched them up. So there's a supply list of things that we will need. So it'll be easy to plan ahead of time, kind of the supplies that we'll need. So I've already ordered mine. I've already been accepted into the Facebook group because you'll get an email. So I'm looking forward to that. It's October 23rd. I won't be able to have a watch party for the event because I'm doing a private session with somebody else on my team. So I'll be watching the replay. So it's going to be available on that private Facebook group as a replay. All right, so that's not going to be a big deal. The other thing is we only have 55 more minutes to subscribe to this month's Paper Pumpkin Kit with Stampin' Up. The 10th of every month closes the subscription period. And it goes by Stampin' Up time, which is Mountain Time in the US. So it is currently about 5 after 11 there. So you've got 1 more hour if you want to get this October kit. It's going to have, I think, some of that velvet paper that I showcased. I think last week I showcased it. But there's also some add-on dies. These are quarterly, so some of the dies will go with each of these months' kits. All right. There's some last chance products that have been updated. There's some new products that have been added. 3 kits dropped this month. And then a special kit that I've been featuring the last few days is this 12 Days of Crafting Advent Calendar. It is a big kit. It is still available. I just looked. The item number for that is 167335. So if you want to recreate any of the projects that I've been doing with the things that I've gotten from the kit, you'll want to order yours. There are dies and paper and embellishments and glitter glue and ephemera packs and memory and more cards, designer series paper. Did I say that? Some embellishments that are just adorable. All right. So let's get going. Oh, and it also comes with the stamp set. It's got 24 stamps in here. So we have 2 full stamp sets. So we've got some images and we've got some words. So we've got miss you, healing hugs, thinking of you, always in my heart, proud of you, birthday wishes, big thanks, love you, and for someone extra special. There's some flowers and flower components. There's some little flowers here, some leaves, a flower cluster, and a butterfly body and wings. And maybe that's a cupcake. That's probably a cupcake. Oh, some of the embellishments in here are really cute too. So this was kind of intended as like you count down to maybe Christmas and open 1 window at a time. Well, I opened mine all up on one night. So here are some of these really cute little embellishments. They're foam. And here's where that cupcake comes in. But there's rainbows and bows and little cherries, some flowers and strawberries. So those are really cute. I have not used those yet. But each of these doors has different things in, and I have some of them out for our project tonight. So let me set this off to the side. Now, as a demonstrator, Stampin' Up! Provides us with recipes to the things that they provide samples for. So they'll tell us the items that we need to use, but they don't give us any measurements. So you have to kind of figure that out on your own. So last night we did this card, and it's on my YouTube channel under Faker Shaker card with yesterday's date, so October 9th. The night before we did these cards in this card box. These are little note cards that were done. I have a bunch of things prepped. I was going to make a few more to kind of fill the box. I was going to do that last night. I just didn't get to it. We might get to it tonight. We might not. And then the night before, let me just flip the page because this is where these are from. The night before, we made a cute little card. I think it's adorable. And I did a non-naked envelope too because I like my envelopes to coordinate with my cards. And we added some things. So we changed it up just a little bit from the sample. And then last night I made the storage box for it, or the little decorative box for it. And I'm going to make 3 more cards to put inside of this. And somebody special will be getting a box of little cards from me. So those are the things we did the last few nights. So if you're interested in those, check out my YouTube videos from the last few nights. But what I'm going to do is make this one tonight. This is a little like miniature purse. All right. So I kind of, through my head and thought process, figured out, I think, the measurements that will work, that will look very similar to this. Okay. So I am going to put this kind of up here. Hopefully we can still see that. And the instructions are telling me I need Flirty Flamingo, Basic Beige, Secret Sea cardstock. I guess I might need to get, I have Misty Moonlight. I think we'll just use Misty Moonlight. We'll see. And Basic White cardstock. Now I couldn't see on the sample where the Basic White was. I don't know where the Basic White was. I couldn't see it on the sample. And the sample also, I see, has some baker's twine, but they use some different baker's twine. They just used, looks like the Basic Beige baker's twine. So, hey Juju, we're going to do some heat embossing. We're going to do, it says some Flirty Flamingo stamping, crushed curry stamping, and old olive stamping. So we'll have to figure that out. Hey Fifi, welcome. And then dimensionals, liquid glue, take your pick tool, and then the kit. So I've got all the elements from the kit. So we are going to make this little purse, all right? So let's see what I want to do first. Let's work on the base because that's the one that just needed a little bit of math. So again, Stampin' Up! When they give us these recipes does not give us measurements, all right? So I'm looking at this little box and I'm thinking that looks like it's about 3 by 3. And then for these little floral pieces here, this would fit to have 3 across with some designer series paper. So we're gonna go with 3 by 3. So if I need 3 by 3 and I have to design my box or my purse, I'm going to have 3 inches for the front across. I'm going to have 3 inches for the back. Hey, Bonnie. Thank you for sending those pictures. I forwarded it to our group. Um, oh, 15 innings for a game. Holy cow. I don't watch baseball much, but wow, that's a lot of innings. That's more than 2 games. No, almost 2 games. 9 innings, right? So anyway, so if we go 3 inches for the front, an inch for the side, an inch for the other side, and then another 3 inches for the back, that means we need 8 inches, but then we also need an edge to put some glue or adhesive on to stick them together. So basically, I'm going to an 8¼ inch measurement, and I'm just going to slice off that 1/4 inch. Now, hang on to this 1/4 inch, and I think my blade needs to be replaced because I'm getting a lot of fraying cardstock. So I'm just going to use a little, like an emery board here, and get those off of there. I've been using my trimmer a lot lately. All right, so then this piece, I'm just going to, excuse me, I'm just going to fold it in half and snip it. That is going to become the handles for our purse. All right, so don't lose those. So then we have this at 8¼ right? So now we're going to turn it this way. So for up and down, if we have 3 inches, and we want the bottom to be the same width as the sides, so I'm going to put this at 4 inches. So I've got 3 inches, which will be the height of the purse, and then an inch for the bottom. So we're going to 4, and we're going to go ahead and cut that off. All right. So you could essentially get 2 of these purses out of 1 piece of cardstock if my measurements, I'm pretty certain my measurements are right. So let's get that cutting blade out of the way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start scoring this. So we are going to score it at 1 inch for the first side. This is just going to be a basic, almost like a itty bitty little shopping bag size one. So nothing kind of fancy. I've done some fancier purses too, but this one is just a basic box with no top, I guess. So we're going to score it 1 inch. We're going to score at 4 inches because we need this 3 inch here. We're going to score at 5 inches so that we've got another inch for the side. And then we're going to go to 8 inches because that'll be 3 inches for the back. And that's going to leave us a 1/4 inch for our tear and tape or liquid glue or whatever you want. And then we're just going to turn it 90 degrees. And then on the short side, we're going to score at 1 inch. Oh, you made a backpack with a real zipper. I've made little backpacks like this, but they didn't have a zipper at all. That sounds really cute. All right, so we're going to score this at 1 inch. And then we're going to be done with our trimmer. All right, so we are going to just kind of fold all of these little score lines. And I'm going to fold this one. And I'm going to get my little snips. So this little corner piece, we're going to go ahead and get rid of. We don't need this little 1/4 inch by 1 inch. So that's going to be a nothing. We can get rid of that. And it doesn't pull on the paper too much or tear the paper, huh? That's cool. And then we're going to cut up these score lines just up to that inch score line. And then these 2 tabs, we're going to go ahead and just ever so slightly miter because I like them so that they don't put any pressure on it. Do you have pictures of those posted on your Facebook page or no? Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and just slightly miter this other tab. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a lot. And you probably could get by without mitering at all. I just prefer to miter so that my edges lay nicer. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and burnish these score lines. Now I can probably get my little snips out of the way. And then I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna put tear and tape on this 1/4 inch flap. Okay, so you made a backpack. You sewed in a real zipper. It's cool. You have it. Oh, it's in your craft room. The zipper works, but you don't have a picture on your page. Okay, I get it. All right, so I like to just burnish the tear and tape on my paper just so I'm sure it's really well adhered. And then all I'm going to do is fold this down. We can peel off the backing paper here. And then I'm just going to fold this over. All right, so it was open all the way. I'm folding in that little 1/4 inch flap, and then just past that 1 inch. So I've got 4 inches here and 4 inches here. So between the front and the side and the back and the side, I'm just going to fold that over right onto this 1/4 inch flap. And then my box is going to be square because this is all flat. All right. If you try to hold it up and line up your edges, at least for me, invariably, I get it all wonky. All right. So let's just go ahead and burnish that a little bit. Now, when I do my box, I like to put one flap in, then my side flaps, then another flap. And I like to put this loose flap on wherever the back is. So this is the back, which means I want this flap to go to the back. So if I'm going to tuck this one in first, so the one that's on the back is the one that we're going to flap in first. We're going to fold in first. But I'm going to go ahead and put some tear and tape on the bottom of here, because I don't have to worry about it later. All right. So then these two edges are going to come in here, and then this side will come down on here. And again, this seam is at the same side as where this other seam is. That way all the, you know, what could be ugly is to the back. I'm going to put a piece of tear and tape here as well, because then what happens is this piece of tear and tape is going to snug up to this part that doesn't have any adhesive, and the tear and tape that I put here is going to snug up to there. All right. So let's go ahead and put this down. And I want to get it pretty close to the edge. So I'm going to go ahead and use my snips for this one. Crack room. Yeah. Is that how it sounded? What I said was a crack room? That might have been a Freudian slip because I meant to say craft room, but yeah, we're all addicted, aren't we? All right. So let's go ahead and, oh, your stuff came today. How fun. All right, let's go ahead and take this off. And we're going to tuck that in first. We're going to tuck these sides in. And then we're going to go ahead and take this piece off. Maybe. There we go. And we're going to tuck this in. And everything should be nice and square. And then I'm just going to use my bone folder to help push those down. Oh. Yeah, with those paper pumpkin kits, you never quite know what you're going to get. And in fact, the one that Juju received was not one of my favorites. But once I made it and made some alternatives, I really kind of liked it. So, you know, I would just say either you could gift it to somebody, of course, or just sit down and challenge yourself to do something. Now, what I should have done and learned from my mistake is I should have attached my designer series paper first, because now it's going to be a little harder for me to get those adhered nicely, but I'll use my liquid glue and it'll be fine. So before you put your box together, put your designer series paper on. So with this pack of designer series paper that came with the 12 days of crafting advent calendar, there is this basic beige floral piece or foliage piece, excuse me. And there's a lot of other really fun prints on here. These are only one-sided. Normally our designer series paper is two-sided. So it's Father's Day stamps. My daughter's father died 5 years ago. And my father's dad did too. So yeah, I can certainly understand that. So certainly figure out something else to do besides what it's intended for. I'm sure. I mean, the things that you showed me last night or earlier, yeah, last night, yesterday morning, super early, you're very creative. So I'll be interested to see what you can get created out of that. So anyway, here's all of these different designs. So there's some blues, and then there's some florals, and then the basic beige. So because the front of our little purse is 3 by 3, I'm going to do these 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And hopefully the math in my head is correct. So this is going to go here. Yep. And then 2 3/4. So out of one 6 by 6 piece of designer series paper, you'll be able to make 2 purses, just like from that one piece of cardstock. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and glue these on. Actually, I'm going to wait just a second, because what I need to do now is, I don't know if you can see this very well. Probably not. I suppose I can try to zoom in again a little bit. But on this little sample here, it has 3 little floral pieces cut out with this little die. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those out. Let's just trim up. I'll go 2 inches. I think I want it on this side. So I'm just going to trim a piece up here that's 2 inches. So the recipes, Bonnie, if you log into your Stampin' Up site and go to your menu, and when you hit the drop down, there is, let me just get there a second here. I don't know if it's buried in a menu item. You'll go to your business resources. And then to your business resources, you'll see the print lab. And if you just hit visit on there, down near the bottom, 1, 2, 3, it's the 3rd category down in the left column. And you'll see all the different catalogs, all the online exclusives. The 12 Days of Crafting Advent Calendar is actually the first set of samples listed, and you can download it. All right. So let's go ahead and get little Betsy up here. And we're going to get 3 of these cut out. Actually, we're going to cut out 6 of them, aren't we? Because we want 3 on each side. I want the fronts and the backs to have little designs. go. These are just going to kind of be random. Did everybody have a good Friday? Sometimes I don't know where my day goes. Of course, I don't get up early because I stay up till the wee hours of the morning. And then I made a nice breakfast, which actually was lunch for us. And then I met a friend and we walked and talked for about an hour and a half. And then I came home and there was some chicken free range time. We stay out with the chickens when they free range because we have hawks in the area. And I don't want one of my chickens carted away by a hawk. And then, oh, and then my husband took me out to dinner. And we went someplace we'd never gone before, so that's always interesting. The food was good, but it took forever. It took forever. Apparently, they let the takeout orders slow down the dining room orders. So you have to sit and wait, but at least the food was good. And I suppose it didn't help that it was a Friday night. They do a fish fry, and we were there a little later than what we might normally go, so I guess it's kind of our own fault. All right, so we're done with that. So these are all the dies that come with this kit. So there's actually, I guess it's not really a kit, the calendar. So there's actually 2 sets of dies. So there's the floral piece. We're going to do this butterfly too. So before I get rid of anything, we're going to do some butterflies. So there's the flowers and some foliage pieces, and then there's the postage squares and then a rainbow piece as well. We did that last night or the night before, whatever we did, I don't remember. All right, so let's also do a few of these butterflies. And I remembered to put my adhesive sheet. So your hubby got up and said, hey, you forgot something? Oh, no. Whoops. Did you make it up to him? It happens, right? Just tell him you were waiting to see if he would remind you or not. All right, so I think I'm gonna do, maybe we'll do 6 of these little butterflies so that we've got 3 and 3. So you had some excitement. Oh, you had the SWAT team. Okay, what did that end up being all about? Did I ever tell you ladies about how all of the law enforcement agencies, like from our whole county, ended up at my house when my son was in high school? So yours was on a quiet dead-end street that's off another quiet dead-end street? So the SWAT team, huh? Do you have anybody important living there? Were they swatted or something? Interesting. You didn't find out what happened yet, huh? Oh, domestic violence, yeah. Well, I hope everybody ended up physically okay. Well, you got to be able to protect yourself, right? So can anybody beat Fifi's excitement? It's not every day you get the SWAT team come to your neighborhood. All right, so I have 3 down. Maybe I should have done these butterflies ahead of time, sorry. Oh, so the neighbor did it. Well, good for the neighbor, though. I mean, it could have turned out worse had the neighbor not called, right? Now, we live in a rural area, and my son, I think he was a senior in high school, and we're allowed to shoot where I live. You just have to be 500 feet from any buildings. And he had some of his friends over from school, and I liked all of his friends. They were all real responsible kids. And I just dropped my die in here. They were all real responsible kids. So, and they had gone to their, hunter safety class and everything. So they had been through the schooling on how to safely use a firearm. But, and they were way in the back shooting at an old truck hood that the people that I bought the house from years and years and years ago had left on the property, and I've just left it there. It's not hurting anybody. And they were shooting at that. Well, one of the neighbors had some family in from out of town or something, and they called the cops. So I'm outside doing some yard work, and I knew that my son and his friends were out back shooting, and I hear all of these sirens, and I can hear the sirens coming closer and closer, and I'm thinking, oh dear, they're probably coming here. I'm like, I don't think these kids are doing anything wrong. So one of the sheriff's deputies sees me out working in the yard, and he pulls over and says, so we had a report of some shots fired. Have you heard anything recently? And, spinning around in my head as well, recently is a relative term. No, I haven't heard anything. So then I got on my son had a cell phone. We both had cell phones, so I called him. I'm like, you might want to just lay low for a couple minutes because there's police here, and you could still hear sirens. So the sheriff's department was there, and village police were there, and the town police were here, and the town police from another agency were here, and I mean, they're all driving up and down the road. State Patrol was here. Well, finally, one of the deputies, I got 6, okay. One of the deputies must have been talking to the party that complained, and so he was walking in the back farm fields from where our property was and approached my son and his friends and, determined he wasn't doing anything wrong. So nothing else happened. They left. So, the next week or a couple weeks later, he's out there shooting with his friends again. And lo and behold, one deputy shows up in my driveway and says, yeah, is your son out shooting again? I'm like, yeah, he's out in the back with his friends. All right, I just had a chalk. Well, there was some other neighbor that had called because they didn't know that we could shoot or something. I don't know what the deal is. So my son just stopped shooting because he said it's just not worth the hassle. All right, so with these, oh, those are the new bozos that moved in, huh, Fifi? Yeah. Failed business owners, huh? Oh, that's always nice. Maybe they'll move out soon. Did they buy the house or do they rent the house? You can only hope they don't own it. All right, so we're going to do something a little different with these. Now you can see I have my piercing mat out, and I don't know if you can see, but there's all kinds of little holes in here. That's because you use it to pierce. So I am going to use my pokey tool, and we're going to poke some holes in here to make it look like I had like a stitched label die. And we're just going to make some random design here because that's what's on the sample, and it does kind of add something. It does make it look kind of fun. I could probably have stacked these and done 2 at a time, huh? Yeah, if they don't pay the mortgage. Oh, you have to make a new box. Well, you could make just a new cover for it with a divider so that you could have drawers. Does it go out the short ends or does it slide out the long end? I don't think I looked that closely on your picture to see. It's a little more challenging to do this with 2 layers. So I'm just trying to wiggle it a little bit to make the holes a little bit bigger. Whoop, that one got really big. I kind of lost control there. Yeah, that's a shame, Fifi, that they kind of didn't do a very good job. I kind of had the same thing when we had our addition done. Our neighbor did construction, and he had fixed up his house, and it looked great from the outside. And we thought, oh, well, we'll have him do our addition. But he was more of an amateur than I realized, or just lazy. And there are a lot of things that are not very well done. So I get that. You try to support, you know, people like from your neighborhood or whatever and hope that they'll do good work, but sometimes that's just not how it turns out. Oh, that's a shame that she's now on drugs. That's horrible. And the drugs will definitely take away her beauty. All right, so there's those. Nothing fancy, but it gives a little pizzazz. And let's see what else we can do. Oh, hi, Sala. I almost missed that you were here. Sorry about that. Yes, her teeth are going to go too. And her hair will get all ugly, the whole bit. So I had some flowers out. We are going to, I think, just do, we're going to do a couple of gold flowers on these, I think, and emboss them. I don't see that on the sample. the sample might have stamped some on there with just the crushed curry, but we're gonna do them in embossing powder. Sorry if you can't see. You gotta remind me if I get too low on here. So let me get the gold. And my embossing buddy. And let's just go ahead and brush these off a little bit. I'm just gonna probably put one on each just to dress them up a little bit. And I'm just gonna put them on there randomly. I don't even care if there's a rhyme or reason to where the flowers are. It'll just give us a little pizzazz. And then we can put some gems in the center of those dots too. Because if I was gonna stamp centers on there, I probably should have done it before I put the powder on, huh? Whoops. So Sala, it's Saturday morning for you. What are you doing here? I thought I wasn't going to see you till your Monday. Aha. So you've got the house with some peace and quiet right now. Oh, that's right, because you've got a party today, right? I smeared a little Versamark on this one, but I just rubbed off the embossing powder and it'll be fine. There's so little it won't matter, but it'll add a little bit of bling. So the tool I have, the take your pick tool? No. That tool you have right there I got today. Which tool are we talking about? The tweezers with the embossing kit? My reverse tweezers. I love these, by the way. All right, I think we're ready to get the heat gun going. The reversible tweezers, yeah. I have a couple different pairs, but these from Stampin' Up! Are I think the best. And I don't know if these are like porcelain tips on here, but they're cold, so it's not like they're plastic or anything, because they would melt. Hello, Susan. I was going to ask you before, when do you go for your little spa weekend? If it's a weekend, your spa trip. Yeah, these are made really nice. So the handle, the black handle is metal. They're screwed in there, and then this is like porcelain or something. I don't know what it is. I should have heated up my heat tool first, but it's coming. Seems like a lot of effort for just an itty bitty little flower on there, but I think they'll be cute. Hello, Tammy. I think they're porcelain. They're not plastic. I mean, I suppose they could be some kind of ceramic, but I mean, I suppose they could be some kind of like weird plastic, but they're cool to the touch. So, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It feels like hard silicone. Huh. I wonder if it tells us online what they are. Let's take a look. It just calls them crafting tweezers. It doesn't say what they're made out of. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't say what they're made out of, so. All right. So the other thing I'm going to do then is we're going to put a drop of glue on each of these. Maybe I should put, no, we'll do the drop of glue first. And I could probably put them like this so you can see them a little bit better without my scrap paper on there. And we're going to add some of the gold embellishments from this Advent Calendar supplies. I suppose I could use some of that glitter glue too and just let it dry. But with my luck, I'd smudge it before it was dry. I think I've got my dollops of glue a little heavy. I do like that embossing toolkit though, with the little tray and the brush and all the things. So we're going to get 6 of these large ones. Maybe. All right. Those are fun because they're just really shimmery. I dropped one down my sleeve. I don't know where it went. And then let's just, and these are indeed faceted. Yeah, it's a nice tool if you do a lot of embossing. The tray, let me just get my tray so I can kind of show you. Of course, if you saw it online, you probably saw it. But the tray has the little spout on here. So if you dump all of your powder in here, now I dump mine because I have them in these storage things, so I usually just put my powder on over this. But depending on how big the area is, if I have a larger area, I will do it over this. And then when you have a leftover powder in here, if you take the end of this off, then you can just funnel it into your original container, whether it's this or something else. And then I have these little itty bitty spoons that I got from what used to be the dollar store. So I use those to just kind of scoop on. They're like hors d'oeuvre spoons or something. And then this brush is the brush that comes with it. But I got this at the art store. I think I got it at Hobby Lobby, a couple of those, because I like them better because they've got a finer tip on them. But it is a very nice kit. All right, last two of these we'll get on here. Your diamond dust, huh? And what does diamond dust do? Is that just like a shimmer finish sort of thing? All right, so these now I'm gonna want dimensionals on the backs. And hopefully I won't disrupt my little embellishments. That is my goal anyway. I don't want to shift them around. Oh, it's a lot like glitter. Count me out. I do not do glitter. I was even apprehensive with the glitter glue that came with this advent calendar. I do not do glitter. So it's like cut glass. You put the glue down and just sprinkle it over and let it dry. So it'd kind of be like a glitter glue, except you glue and then sprinkle that on there and wait for it to dry. I suppose if it's glass, it wouldn't be as clingy as glitter. Yeah, well, glitter looks pretty in a bottle too, but as far as I'm concerned, it can just stay in the bottle. I don't know who invented glitter, but I am not a fan. Glimmer. I'm with you, Juju. Oh yeah, breathing that would not be good news. Not good news at all. All right, so we are now to these pieces. So this is for the front and the back of our little bag here. Now, like Juju, if you wanted to make this for like in a junk journal, you could score these in half before you put it together. And you could probably do like little angle scores in here, and you could collapse this so it could be kind of flat. Or you could just do the front, I suppose, and make it into a pocket. Glitter's bad for the environment. It's bad for my disposition too, because it just makes a mess. All right, so let's go ahead and put these on here. And I am going to start in what appears to be kind of the middle. And I'm just going to eyeball it because that's usually what I do. And hope that it's straight. Let me move up a little bit here. Well, I don't think anybody would inhale it on purpose. But if it's fine, If it's a fine glass, is it like a powder or is it, because I thought you had said powder, but maybe I'm wrong. So it's not a powder. All right. So it's just little shards of glass. But you know, like if people inhale fiberglass fibers, that can damage your lungs. Oop, this little dot moved. Let's get him back where he belongs. So that's looking kind of cute, don't you think? Just random extra flowers on that paper. I'm going to put this one in the middle too. I think I'll go this way. Let's kind of line these up so I kind of have them the same distance from the bottom. They're a little closer to the bottom than they are to the top. And that's kind of how the sample was. And it doesn't have to be exact because I don't think anybody's going to be going on this with a ruler, right? Oh, yeah. Who wants to watch that stuff dry? You could always cheat and use a heat gun. Yeah, you're right, Sally. There probably is some dust involved. I suppose if you were really a fan and found it to be a respiratory distress item, you would probably want to use a mask, like a painter's mask or something, to just get those, because they're going to be relatively big particles for a mask. All right, there's that. So then, because I remembered microplastics, which are bad for us, yep. But this is glass. She said it was glass. Oh yeah, fish food. I hadn't even thought fish would not be smart enough to know it's glass. Oh yeah, you'd mess up your, you would definitely mess up. Does it go that way? No, I think it goes this way. You would definitely mess up your raindrops if you used your glue gun or your heat gun. And we still need to put some little sentiment on here as well. So I think I'm going to do the sentiment on this one. We'll maybe cover up these flowers a little bit. And I'm just going to put 3 butterflies on each side. I'm guessing these bits of glass though are pretty small. And for the most part, I don't know that it's going to make it into the waterways if it's going to a dump. And quite honestly, our garbage typically goes to landfills. So it's going to go right into the ground. And is this going to stick? I use the adhesive sheets. Oh, absolutely, Tammy. That would be bad news for you. Winkostella is my friend. And some of the glimmer papers. The glimmer papers are okay. So I did stamp some of these ahead of time. Just the thinking of you, I'm going to put that on here. So let me just cut these out. I did unfortunately stamp them a little crooked, but I can fix it. I think I can fix it. Yeah, I don't do glitter papers. The glimmer paper that Stampin' Up! Has had does not, the shimmer doesn't come off. So they either call it glimmer paper or shimmer paper. And that's usually been okay. Now, the sample shows, if you can see it, I'll pull this out again. The sample shows that the sentiment was on that Secret Sea and embossed in white. I'm just going to do it with white and Misty Moonlight on there. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue that on there. All right, Susan, so the 13th, 14th, and 15th. That's nice. It's right over your anniversary. That is very nice. And that was very nice of your mother to get you your little spa getaway. All right, so those are done. Now we're going to go ahead and put it on our little, oh, I need to put some butterflies over here. I almost forgot them. And which wedding anniversary is it, Susan? How many years? I think we'll put the little butterfly right on top of there. Give it a little pizzazz. And then maybe, yes, congratulations, Susan, on your anniversary. Maybe we'll just tuck this one underneath. All right, hopefully, I should have put this all together before I started putting it together, but part of why I'm here is so that you can learn from my mistakes, right? It is a lovely community. All right, so now this is going to get glued onto one side. I think it's good to have friends, and part of Stampin' Up's mission, I guess, is to eradicate loneliness. And I think when there are so many different kinds of crafters, and when we do these lives like this, I think it just brings people together in a very nice way. And to like my team and that, I'll say, yeah, my online, they're my peeps. They're my peeps. We visit, we learn things about each other. It's like we know each other. Oh, your 40th anniversary? So you found out, Tammy, you've got 40 years in? Good for you. If I wouldn't have gotten divorced, I would have had 45 this year. We had a pug. Yeah, it is super lonely without some of these online crafting communities, and my husband actually is very supportive in what I do. And if he ever resents the time that I spend in my craft space, he doesn't let on. But when I do any craft fairs or anything, he calls himself my roadie. But it's not the same as having my crafting buddies that we can just craft and chat together. Yep, and this is a good avenue to meet people. When you have something creative in common. All right, so isn't that adorable? I love it. Oh, and then I did this backwards. So this is actually the back of my box. I wasn't paying attention. Again, take a lesson from me. Make sure you put your sentiment so that it's on the front of your box, not what should be the back of your box with the seam. I was not paying attention, and this is on here now, so it's not coming off. All right, so then we're down to this last 1/4 inch strip from our 8.5 inch wide piece that we cut down to 8 1/4. And I'm going to take my bone folder and I am just going to curl this a little bit and break down these fibers because this is going to become the handle for our little purse here. And I want to make sure that it lays nice. And I'm just going to go like this, and the handles will automatically curl in, right? If I wanted to put it on like the inside, you could have them kind of curling out. So if you were going to do it in like a card or in a journal flat, I would probably do it so that the handle is curling out. Huh, that's funny, Tammy. 4th of July is important. Got to watch the fireworks. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do some glue on these ends. And hopefully I won't get too much that it oozes out. But hopefully I'll have enough that it'll stick good. And I'm not putting on a lot. I'm just using the tip to kind of spread it out. And we're just going to hold this on here for a minute. I think it's pretty set. And Bonnie, you've been in Branson for what, 8 years now, you said? All right. This is adorable, even if I did put the sentiment on the wrong side. All right. I'm just going to make sure that that's going in the direction that I want. We'll put glue on the correct side. So Tammy, you're from Virginia. We have folks from all over. So if we ever take a road trip, you know, we'll just have to look up whoever's in the states that we're covering and make arrangements to meet. Or if you're demos and end up going to on stage or other events, we can meet there. I met some of my friends at Onstage that I've been in different groups with, so it's always fun to meet in person. Fifi, you've talked a lot about many of the different places you've lived in. Were you part of a military family, or why did you move so much? Well, Sala, I do want to go through that area. So, you know, when I do, I will be looking you up. Got to meet my soul sister. Isn't this adorable? So the last thing we're going to do then is we're going to put a couple more of these embellishments on here. Well, I'm from Sweden. Well, I shouldn't say I'm from Sweden. My ancestors are from Sweden. So I would like to do some overseas travel. And my husband's family's from Italy. So, you know, we'll just do a grand tour at some point. That's my plan. That's my goal. It's on my bucket list. All right, I'm just going to drop that on there with my tweezers, because that's just a little easier. I got a random stick piece. That's going in the garbage. I would have to go through my mother's ancestry stuff to see where in Sweden they were from. Summerstrom is one of the family names. Trollberg, I think, is another family name. So someday. All right, so Fifi, you grew up in Washington except for your dad. Yep, you've mentioned he was a nuclear engineer in Virginia. So no military, just moving around, huh? And see, I've lived in my state, in this county, my entire life, which is probably like why I like to travel. Well, I'm glad you had an aunt to live with, Fifi. Well, you got to take the good with the bad, right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? So Bonnie, my mother's family, once they immigrated, and my grandmother grew up, she was like 2 or 4 when she came over from Sweden. But my mother's family, her mom and dad, ended up in Pacifica, and my grandfather, so her dad, died when my grandmother was pregnant with my mother. He was an electrician. He worked for the power company, and I guess he got electrocuted and then died, not immediately, but I guess from heart issues following that. Isn't this just adorable? And I do want to come to Australia. I was going to do that the year I turned 35. I was making plans, had the trip kind of mapped out. We were going to do Australia, we were going to do some New Zealand time. I ended up getting a divorce instead, and I couldn't afford both. So Australia is still on my bucket list. Yep, this is super cute. Super cute. So you've got 1 by 3 inches in there. It would easily hold like some tissue paper and a gift card. You could put probably a D-size block in here if you wanted to gift somebody a block, a paper pumpkin block, a craft eraser. Yeah, it was a good investment, quite honestly, Sala. You know, it was. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? Didn't I just say that? Yeah, and I think my kids were better for it too. They were 5 and 8 at the time. So, all right, hopefully those will settle in there. This adhesive, I might have to put glue on those. My adhesive isn't sticking really well. I might have pulled up an old sheet. I love the accent. What we consider an accent for people from Australia, New Zealand. I love that Aussie talk. All right, so adorable, right? Too bad I didn't come up with the idea, but it is very cute. And then, you know, a little piece of tissue paper in there would be perfect. So there's the Stampin' Up! Version. You're not leaving the country? Well, I'm hoping things will get to where we feel more comfortable leaving the country again. Yeah, well, my husband wants to do a trip to Alaska, and I've not been to Hawaii. And I didn't really have a desire to go to Hawaii, but you know, we might do a cruise so that we can do different spots in Hawaii without having to stay in all the expensive hotels and stuff. So I don't know. So anyway, I love this. Oh, I need to put some little twine on there, don't I? So I think we'll do, whoops, and this little one moved. I guess those weren't quite dry yet. I have to be careful with my work of art here. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to double this because I'm going to make a double layer bow on here. Yeah, we were going to go to Branson in 2021. We were going to go with my husband's brother and his wife. And we kind of had everything planned, but then my mom got sick, so we ended up not going. Unfortunately, but I'm glad I stayed with my mom. That was the year she passed away. So let's see if my bow, there, that's kind of cute, huh? And I used the twine that came with the Advent calendar. So it's white and flirty flamingo. Love it. Yeah, I'd have to look up Chester, Illinois to see where it is. What other cities are near Chester, Illinois? All right, so there's our finished product. Cute. All right, so we've done the Faker Shaker card. We've done the little bag. Southern Illinois, okay. And then we did this card and we made a box. And right on the Mississippi, all right. And then we did this little card, we made the box, and I've got all the things to make some more of those. I was gonna try to get to those tonight, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that. So let's take a look and see what's next. 289 miles from Branson. So here, let's see what we have. Oh, we could make this cute little banner tomorrow. Or later today, actually. Oh, there's fussy cutting on this one, Juju. I'll have to look at these and see if these are just like some 3x3 little note cards, maybe. And I'm only about an hour and a half from Chicago. All right, so what do you think? Some little note cards and banners tomorrow, maybe? This is going to be a little banner, it looks like, because it looks like it uses these dies. The picture is really small, so I'll have to get the file out and kind of look at it big. Yeah, Illinois is a long state, and Pennsylvania is a very wide state. It takes forever to get across Pennsylvania. All right, so ladies, I think that's it for me tonight. One involved project, albeit small, but we got through it. I only made a couple of little mistakes. Nobody will know, right? I probably need to put a little bit more pressure on that to get my glue to stick. Oh, I know, that's because I've got the tabs in there. Yeah, so my tear and tape, so you'll want to put, if you do this, put some tear and tape on the inside of your tabs as well, so it sticks really well. All right, so we're calling it a night tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me, ladies. We've been on here about an hour and a half Time flies. It goes really fast for me when we're on here. Thank you, Tammy. I appreciate it. My intention is to get through all of the sample recipes for everything they have in the Advent calendar. So, oh, it looks like maybe, is this a scrapbook page maybe? Memory keeping page. So we'll get through it all. I'm not sure what this is. I'll have to take a look at that too. I can't tell if that's maybe on a ring, some little photo cards and stuff. So anyway, my goal is to make it through all of this. Tell us where the PDF is again. All right, so if you are logged into your Stampin' Up! Page, in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see the little toolbar that says Menu. And then it'll say Ordering and Happening Now. So you want to click on the menu. Are you on your page right now or not? But if you click on Menu and then go down below where those icons are. You're welcome, Fifi. Thanks for popping in. So go down below where the icons show and you'll see Customer Center and then you'll see Business Resources. So click over onto the arrow for Business Resources and then you'll see the first heading is Print Lab. You'll want to extend that and then there's a link that says Visit. When you click on Visit, there's a whole bunch of resources there for you. Tool around those sometime because there's all kinds of good resources. And then as you scroll down the page, just keep looking in the left-hand column. The third section is titled Products. And like this recipe here is the very first one listed. It says 12 Days of Crafting Advent Calendar Sample Recipes. And then you've got the annual catalog recipes. You've got the ones from last year's catalog. And you can, the recipes are helpful because you can see a layout and then you can kind of see like the colors and stuff they used or the techniques they used. But the layouts especially will help you, you know, if you wanted to create a bunch of templates or sketches to make some cards out of later. I'm glad you got it, Bonnie. Awesome. But there's all kinds of things in there. And, you know, maybe at some point we can get together, Juju and Bonnie and I, and maybe have like a Google Teams meeting or something, and we can kind of go through when you're both logged in, and I can kind of walk you through where some of those resources are if you need to, or if you want to find something and you're not sure where to look, just shoot me a message. All right, and I'll help you find the resources you need, or I'll answer questions. So feel free to do that anytime. Yes. Yeah, we could do a Zoom and share the screen, Fifi. But we'll work that out. The Zoom has a time limit. Google Teams does not. All right. Anything else? Oh, we got a couple extra people in here. Any other questions, ladies? You can always go live, invite people up. Don't ever hit the live button. Yeah, and sitting there and craft or whatever. Yeah. Right, Fifi. I know you do. Yep, because you do your Make It Mondays. And are those, I forgot, are those gals that are on your team or are they customers of yours? I don't remember. I was just on there a couple weeks ago and you get 40 minutes free. unless they changed it within the last couple of weeks. I do have a free account. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just have to do what's right for you. So Bonnie, Juju, any other questions? Otherwise, I am going to say good night for now. Good morning, because it's like 1:30. It's 1:29 here in Wisconsin, so Central Time. All right, Juju, awesome. And Paper Pumpkin versus Juju for the win. Loved it. All right. Good night, everybody. Happy crafting.